Hello, and welcome back to Intern to Expert, the show where we explore the science, soul, and systems behind becoming your strongest, clearest, and most capable self. I'm your host, Wild Will, and today I want to share something that truly changed the trajectory of my day-to-day life, the power of mornings. Now, both of the routines I'm going to talk about today were inspired by a book that cracked open a new mindset for me. The 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma. In the book, Sharma says, "Own your morning, elevate your life." And as cliche as that might sound, when you're half asleep at 5 a.m., it stuck. I wanted to know if waking up early and structuring my morning could really make a difference. And the answer, after testing two wildly different routines, is yes, but not in the way you might think. The first routine I tried was what I now call my simple power morning. It was gentle, sustainable, and designed around clarity, not chaos. You wake up at 5 a.m., thanks to Sharma's idea of the victory hour, and I would do 40 minutes of light resistance training in my room, mostly dumbbells and bodyweight exercises. And while I worked out, I would listen to an audiobook, which allowed me to multitask in a way that felt very natural, which included listening to the 5 a.m. Club, as well as right after that I was listening to the 48 Laws of Power, which I'll talk about in a future episode. And then followed by that, it was 20 minutes of journaling, being able to write down goals, my thoughts, and just general gratitude. Post that, I took a cold shower, and then I cooked a hot, nourishing meal before heading to work, which usually consisted of like a breakfast wrap with eggs and avocado and some meat. In the 5 a.m. Club, Sharma introduces the 20-20-20 formula, which is 20 minutes of movement, 20 minutes of reflection, and 20 minutes of growth. My version was a little bit longer when you factor in the cold shower as part of the routine, as well as making sure that you cook and have something nourishing for breakfast. But it followed the same principles: move your body, sharpen your mind, and center your thoughts. And what I loved about this is that I didn't feel like I was in a rush. I had the mental space to process and plan and really just take things at my comfortability. And the journaling did bring me a lot of clarity, and it often put me in the right mindset for the rest of the day. Just being able to go to work a little bit happier. And then the real win is that the evenings were mine. I was able to come home without feeling like I had a long to-do list, and I didn't feel like I had to worry about things. I was able to have some me time, spend some time with family, and just take part in my hobbies. And, I just felt like I had a lot more control and a lot more time, which is seemingly hard to come by today. And then after doing a few months of that, I was ready to level up. I had mentioned the 5 a.m. Club to my co-host, Ben, and he was looking for somebody to join him in this routine. So we started to get together and do what we'll call the hard reset routine. So that involves waking up at 4:30, right earlier than 5, but still the same spirit. And then we would either take an ice bath or go for a run, and sometimes do one right after the other. Usually depends on whether it is more of a recovery day or like a strength and power focused day. And then we would always stretch, foam roll, do some IT band work, make sure that we are taking recovery seriously. And then about 2 or 3 times a week, we would do a heavy lifting session, and then we would rest, and the rest on the off days is very recovery focused, making sure that we stretch on our own. And I really love using an acupressure mat to dig into my feet and back and get into the knots. Cupping is fantastic. If you have a sauna or a hot tub, that's even better. But the real big difference in this is that I had an accountability buddy, which when you have somebody pushing you, you have no choice but to bring the intensity and change your focus to something that is going to push yourself. And it has definitely made my physical progress even further than when I was hitting the gym every day and taking it seriously without a qualified strength and conditioning coach. So, to go over why it worked, Sharma writes, "Excuses breed no genius. Justification is the enemy of mastery." And having somebody waiting on you kills all excuses. When we wake up, we're expected to be there. So it's something that if you are lacking, you should try to find someone to go with you. It makes it just a little bit easier. And with this routine, I really was seeing physical progress really fast. Faster runs, better lifts, easier, deeper recovery, a lot of chronic pain going away. And it wasn't about doing more. It was about doing better. And it was optimized for growth. So as far as like the amount of workload is way less. It's actually shocking how little resistance training I'm doing and seeing massive growth. And part of it is recovery, part of it is locked in diet, part of it is intensity. And the biggest challenge is definitely the commitment. This is not a routine that you can just fall into. It really does require a lot of strict discipline, getting to bed early, making sure your diet is actually really good, and structuring your weekends to not screw up everything in those 48 hours, right? When you're wanting to go out on a Friday or Saturday night and binge drink and lose all your progress and drink and eat 5,000 calories. Right, just continuing to hold yourself accountable. And Sharma calls, this more strict routine, we'll call it a heroic habit installation, which are routines that sculpt your identity over time. So the longer you do it, the easier it gets. So, both routines worked, but they're, for different reasons and for different areas of growth. Both were, I was doing both of them for months at a time, and each one taught me very different things. So just to compare and contrast them, the simple power was a 5 a.m. wake up, and the hard reset is 4:30. The structure is flexible and personal versus demanding and intense. The movement was very gentle for the simple, more focused on an everyday, light working, with the hard being a high output, high intensity, less overall time for the workload itself. For the mental work, the simple was more journaling and audiobooks, a lot of more thinking and more isolation and solitude when it comes to reflecting, versus with the hard reset, it was active discipline with the reflection, like pushing oneself physically and learning about oneself that way. The social element, right? The simple was solo. It was literally roll out of bed and get to work and just do it in your room. Work out before your mind even has a chance to tell you no. Versus having an accountability partner, which, especially when you're trying to leave your house, helps. Especially when it's in the dead of winter and there's snow on the ground, and it is already 30 degrees out, and you have to hop in an ice bath, it helps to have somebody there with you, because you'll just never do that on your own. For the simple, there's a lot more time freedom. I could take more time in the mornings, because I knew I had extra time to relax before work. It's very peaceful, able to center myself, where the heart is more about progress and sharpness and coordination and balance, agility, mobility, general athletics, definitely more physically focused rather than mentally focused, although we do try to work in audiobooks during our runs, and we want to make sure that there is mental learning to be done as well. It's worth utilizing the time, especially when you are at an elevated state mentally, and you're going to be able to receive all of that information better. And then finally, there was a balanced energy impact with the simple. It was always light, so there was never a day where it felt like you were falling behind or like couldn't do anything. With the hard, it was like you had your peak days, but you definitely needed recovery and had to make sure your diet was more locked in. So Sharma talks about personal mastery and how great people don't do different things or difficult things. They do simple things consistently and with intention. Both routines give you that. And depending on what you're looking for, I would say these are either of these are good to implement into one's daily life. So here's what I learned from living these routines and living this book, which is that the best morning routine is the one that builds your identity. So just some quick tips for you to start. You want to anchor your morning. Start with something repeatable, something easy, even if it's just 10 minutes of movement and 10 minutes of intention, right? Getting out of bed, going for a quick run, doing some jumping jacks, doing some crunches, and then 10 minutes of either meditation, breathing, journaling, right? Just start with 20 minutes. 20 minutes is so easy. And then just like add 20 minutes after that, 20 after that. And again, make sure you track your identity, not just what you're doing. And remind yourself who you're becoming by keeping such a disciplined structure. And use the 20-20-20 rule as a base, which is something that Sharma talks about constantly throughout the 5 a.m. Club, which involves 20 minutes of movement, 20 minutes of reflection, and 20 minutes of growth as soon as you wake up at 5 a.m. And then shape it to your style, right? Like the simple version is shaped to do 40 minutes of 2 things at once and then 20 minutes of another thing after that. And it ultimately protects your evenings. A good morning starts the night before. So don't ignore sleep. You need like 4 to 5 full REM cycles, which, that's like a 90-minute cycle. And cutting it off early is basically a useless cycle. So getting like 6 to 8 hours of sleep is really ideal, and will boost your metabolism and, among many other benefits. And, I guess lastly, we'll say keep it seasonal, in that work it to your own needs, right? If you have different goals, different resources, different abilities, right? Different energy levels, start somewhere, start easy. The best workout you could do is the workout you're going to do every single day, something that you actually enjoy doing. For me, it's more resistance training. And luckily I have an accountability buddy for the running because I would not be doing that on my own. So whether you're chasing calm or chasing PRs, the right routine is the one that supports who you're trying to become. If you've been struggling to find a morning flow that sticks or bouncing between all the influencer checklists, I hope this gave you permission to craft a version that works for you. The 5 a.m. Club gave me a blueprint, but it was trial and error that built the lifestyle. If this episode gave you value, shoot it to a friend who's always saying, I want to be a morning person. And make sure you subscribe, because we've got more real talk and evolution ahead. This has been Intern to Expert. Keep learning, keep lifting, and keep evolving.